Here's to George, the curious little monkey. He must know what everything's about. Curious George, the curious little monkey. What's he up to? Let's find out.
Curious George goes to college. I'm going to visit Professor Darwin at the college today, George, said the man with the yellow hat. There should be interesting things for you to see. So they got into their little blue car and went off. Soon they arrived at the science building. Professor Darwin is busy teaching a class, said the secretary, but he will be finished soon. We'll wait, said the man. Look around, George, but don't get into trouble. George walked toward the lab and peeked through the open door. A student was looking into a black metal thing on a table. It was a microscope. When he finished, another student had a look. And then another. Then another. What were they looking at? George was curious. When the bell rang, the students picked up their books and left. George jumped on the table and looked through the microscope. Inside, strange things were going on. There was a creature with hundreds of arms. How did that big creature get into that small space? George was curious. He pulled off the top, unscrewed the base, and there was a glass slide with dots on it. Now the microscope was all in pieces. Just then, Professor Darwin came in. "What do you think you're doing?" he shouted. "That's our most expensive microscope." George was scared. He ran into the next room and jumped on a shelf full of stuffed animals. There was a raccoon, a rabbit, an owl, and a monkey. Just then, some students came in, followed by the professor. "Have you seen a little monkey?" he asked. "Only that one," said a student, pointing to the shelf. "I mean a live one," said the professor. "We've had some trouble with one." George did not move a muscle. The students sat down at their desk. The professor picked up a pointer and walked over to the shelf with the stuffed animals. "I have a question," he said to the students. "Which is the smartest? The raccoon? The rabbit? The owl? Or could it be the monkey?" And he poked George in the tummy. George jumped and almost fell off the shelf. The students laughed and laughed. "It's the monkey you were looking for. He's alive," shouted the student. The professor turned to George. "I should be angry with you," he said, "but you did prove a point." Then he turned back to the students. "The point is that the only animal smart enough to fool us all is a monkey." "George," said the professor, as he fixed the microscope, "in here is a world of wonders. Never stop being curious." "I don't think he ever will," said the man with the yellow hat. "Come back anytime, George," said the professor. Then they waved goodbye and drove home in their little blue car.